Greetings, gaming historians, and welcome to Lord of Lore, where we break down the lore and history of our favorite games and fantasies. Today, we're going to look into the world of Dragon's Dogma to discuss one of the most mysterious aspects of the game's world, and that is the Old Gods. As those of you who have played the game may know, the world has an interesting mythology that revolves around cycles and the Rift, but the actual history of the physical world, its kingdoms, and its cultures are vague and rely mostly on context found while exploring the game's world. This also holds true to the Old Gods. These mystic beings are only mentioned in the game, and yet pieces of their lore can be found within in-game clues and other context. Today, we're going to be talking about who the Old Gods were and what role they served in a world that seems to have so little to do with them. Now, fair warning, there are spoilers ahead. Let's discuss. The first question we need to discuss about the Old Gods is significant. Did they actually exist? For those of you who have finished the game, we know that the world of Dragon's Dogma exists in an eternal cycle. A being known as the Seneschal, an arisen who proved himself through resolve, creates the living beings of the world and sends dragons in order to seek those worthy of being arisen and becoming a worthy replacement. Those who fail become dragons destined to seek a new arisen, while those who succeed kill and replace the original Seneschal with the mysterious Godsbane. While the game hints that there might be greater powers beyond the Seneschal, it is clearly explained that even the Seneschal has no way of knowing, and all known mythology revolves around the Rift and the worlds around it. Because of this cyclical world that seems to revolve around only one divine being, it seems that a pantheon of gods would be unlikely. To further credit this, the notion of the Old Gods is likely a reference to Dragon's Dogma's medieval setting. Just as Christian Europe was descended from pagan Rome, the kingdoms of Dragon's Dogma originally served the Old Gods only to convert to the religion known as the Faith. So, do the Old Gods even exist? Well, according to the Dragon's Dogma Design Works, a book that explains about the art and world of Dragon's Dogma, the simple answer is yes. According to an excerpt that explains about ogres, ogres were originally a race of giants that had been cursed by the gods, forced to live as unintelligent animals. Not only does this prove that the Old Gods were real, but it also shows that the Old Gods even had power to interact with the physical world. So the question remains, who are they? At this point, some fans might think that the gods were the greater force hinted at by the Seneschal, but this is very unlikely to be the case. As the Seneschal admitted, neither he nor the world around him had any idea if there was a greater power or not. So if the divine that created the living beings of the world had no idea about any greater forces, it is unlikely that a human religion did. But that brings another question. If the world exists in an eternal cycle, what are the gods' role in it? Are they constantly created and destroyed in the cycle alongside mortals? It is my belief that the world of Dragon's Dogma does not work that way. Unlike other cyclical fantasies, where the entire world is constantly destroyed and recreated, the cycle of Dragon's Dogma only seems to relate to the Arisen and the Dragon. However, I do believe destruction and reconstruction play a significant role. Take a look at the world of Dragon's Dogma. Much of the landscape is made of ruins, with even major settlements being built upon other ruins. For example, there is Casardis built near the ocean ruins, as well as the Catacombs, Water Temple, and Blue Moon Tower. All of them hinted to be the ruins of sites dedicated to the Old Gods. Also, much of the unexplored world is said to be in total ruin and infested with monsters, and the game hints that this is likely the result of past dragons and their destruction. Now you may wonder, what does all of this have to do with the Old God? Allow me to explain. Unlike the Arisens, the world does not seem to be in a cycle of death and rebirth, but rather destruction and reconstruction. When one civilization is destroyed by a dragon, new civilizations eventually arise to replace it. During the history of the civilization that became Grand Soren's main kingdom, the people built many temples to the Old Gods. Then, however, as they continued to develop and advance, they eventually turned away from the Old Gods and developed the Faith, a religion that serves a being known as the Maker, a being who is highly hinted to be the clergy's misinterpreted view of the Seneschal. Before turning to the Faith, the people worship gods of earth, water, and other parts of nature. Because of this information, it is my belief that the Old Gods are in fact powerful elemental beings, less powerful than the Seneschal, but more interactive with the forces of nature that govern the mortal world. I think that when civilizations begin to develop after the destruction of a dragon, they turn first to the lower gods of nature, and then turn to the Seneschal when they seek higher understanding of the world around them. However, all of this is merely theories based on context, as much of the lore revolving around the game's world is limited and vague. What do you think? What relationship do you think the old gods have with the world? Do they still exist in the current events? And if so, do you think we might see more of their influence in future content? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and remember to drop a like and subscribe so my channel can grow. Feel free to comment what you would like to see next, new videos every week. God bless.